My name is Jason Warner, resident of Ohio, live up near Cleveland. I have here, a recorded call with Fifth Third Bank, whereby you're going to hear much. What I recently learned is telecommunications harassment. I didn't know about what telecommunications harassment was until the last few weeks, literally. So I'm going to break that down for you. It's involving an installment loan that I had with the bank. It's now litigious, but the collateral is a car. This conversation occurred at the end of June 2008, but for the record, I've never missed a payment in my life. I'm 29 years old now, and the bank just truly, I have proof that they just stopped taking payments. And in some recordings I have, they even admit that. And I've come to the understanding now that banks are doing this because they need capital. What's the best way to do that? Get the collateral, sell it in an auction, go after that little deadbeat who allegedly stopped making payments for the difference, and they're obviously not able to raise capital through the stock price or bonds, because no banks really have enough money to issue bonds and that. But I have a recording here, and please listen carefully. Hey guys, what was your name again?
You refused to give me your home address.
I'm not here to give you any information, okay?
So not your place of employment or any business phone numbers or home phone?
What was your name again, please?
My name is Amber.
Amber, what's your employer ID number, please?
Well, I don't feel comfortable giving that to you, Jason.
What company do you work for again?
I work for Fifth Third Bank.
Fifth Third Bank. What office are you calling me out of?
I'm calling you out of the Collections and Repossession office.
Where? What state is that located in?
We're based out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay. And what location are you?
Jason, this has nothing to do with what I'm calling you about.
You yourself can't even properly identify yourself.
I can identify myself, Jason. You're not identifying yourself.
You just called me.
Why am I answering your questions if you're not going to answer mine?
You called me, okay? That's why.
Yeah, I did.
And
and for the United States Patriot Act, I need to verify your information.
The United States Patriot Act.
Maybe you can look that up on the internet or wherever you need to look that up at.
Wow. Listen, you know what? You guys have called me from a 513 number.
And multiple need to call.
Multiple times. You've not only called me. For the record, Ohio Revised Code 2917.21 is about telecommunications harassment. And it's important to note, though, that, you have laws, federal laws, and there are some little state laws, too, but Fair Debt Collections Practices Act, that's for collectors. And then, of course, you have banks, which are truly allowed to call their customers to request a payment. But here's the thing. Any good prosecutor would look for two things: intent and motive. The whole thing about the murderer, killed somebody. Well, what was the person's intent? What was the motive? Well, here's the thing. I have documents showing through my Vonage account. I had an account on Vonage. Pretty cool. You can do a little breakdown of phone calls from certain numbers. 513-579-5300 phone number from Fifth Third. 77 phone calls in less than 77 days. So that's more than one phone call per day. And then more than 600 phone calls that were all just a bunch of hang-ups from them as well in just a few months. Telecommunications harassment 2917.21a says no person shall knowingly make or cause to be made a telecommunication or knowingly permit a telecommunication to be made from a telecommunications device under the person's control. This would be the officers of Fifth Third Bank to another if the caller does any of the following. And of course, one, you gotta make, fails to identify the person's name. Number two, describe, suggest, request, or proposes that the caller or recipient that's having to do with sex. Number three, during the telecommunication, violates Section 2903.21 of the revised code. It's menacing. aggravated menacing. 4 is knowingly state to the recipient of the telecommunication that the caller intends to cause damage to or destroy public or private property and the recipient, any member of the recipient's family, or any other person who resides at the premises. And of course, 5, knowingly makes telecommunication to the recipient of the telecommunication to another person at the premises to which telecommunication is made, or to those premises and the recipient or another person at those premises previously has told the caller not to make telecommunication to those premises or to any persons at those premises. And of course, the code goes further on that. But here's the thing. I mean, this is abusive. When you're having this many phone calls, it truly is the purpose, the intent, the motive of these phone calls really to obtain a payment. I mean, at what point do you just, obviously, like they're saying in this conversation over and over, they're not getting a payment. So what would you just? It's to annoy, it's to abuse, it's to harass, and the code goes on very clearly to explain that.
You have to be very cooperative with the bank.
Very cooperative. I call you back, I got a log of it. Not only a log, it's actually from my cell phone and from my home Vonage phone. I see how many times you guys call. Every time you guys call, you hang up on me from the 513 number.
Well, is it possible that you're being uncooperative?
Hey, no, you have an automatic dialer. The automatic dialer just, I guess it loses the calls or whatever. I don't know.
I just called you on the automatic dialer.
Well, no, this time you called me, ma'am, from...
On the automatic dialer.
I don't know where you called me from, but the phone number popped on my cell phone as unavailable.
Okay.
I've noticed that you calling from this number actually looks better from the 513 number. I've called your number...
Jason, I'm going to be totally honest with you here. What you're saying to me right now has nothing to do with what I want to talk to you about. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about where I'm calling from. What you're...
Let me get this highlight. 2917.21A1. With purpose to harass or abuse any person at the premises to which the telecommunication is made, whether or not actual communication takes place between the caller and a recipient. It's this whole issue of calling and hanging up over and over. I mean, a lot of times, these companies are doing this with these automatic dialers, but they're not actually talking to anybody. That's another problem too. You got hundreds of phone calls to people. It's not just me, Jason Warner. It's just thousands and thousands of customers. There's a website. It's called ripoffreport.com. Just put in Fifth Third Bank. There's a lot of stuff in there about overdrafts, and that's completely irrelevant. But just look at all these issues with regard to the insurance fraud that Fifth Third Bank is committing, and of course other banks are doing this as well. And of course you have the issue of payments being made and they're just jumping on people for no reason at all. It's outrageous.
Where I'm calling from, what number I'm dialing. I want to talk to you about your car. Can we talk about your car?
Well, here's the thing. You guys have made promises to me. You have not fulfilled them. You sent some guy who cannot identify himself to my house.
He doesn't have to identify himself.
He does not have to identify himself?
No. Repo agents can come in the middle of the night and take your vehicle because it's night.
In my case, he came in the middle of the night and during the day. Came to my door and we talked for a while.
Your vehicle, it's Fifth Third Bank's vehicle.
That was never... You know what? I asked for that in writing. Nobody ever gave me anything.
Do you have your contract? Because it says that in there.
Please send it to me via mail.
Why don't you have your contract?
I have it, but I do not see that anywhere in the contract. It's in my call box right here. It's nowhere in that contract that it's your vehicle.
Well, it's a federal law, Jason, so I don't know.
Regarding the repossession, okay, I've offered to just drive the car to your branch.
Let me ask you something. If you don't pay your car payment, what happens? Your car gets repossessed. That's what happens.
Okay.
It happens to everybody. You're not the only person.
And I've told you what the situation was?
Yeah, and you know what? They don't want payments. but we'll continue on here.
The guy stalking me coming